Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to my channel Philosmos, where everything philosophical is discussed. Now, today's lesson title is The Indifference of the Universe. So, the normal conception of God is that God is benevolent. That is the nature, the fundamental nature of what we have contemporary understood as God being good. God being the all good energy that encapsulates this universe. It's all loving and all caring. I mean, that's at least what most religious texts have been describing, especially when they describe God and the nature of existence. The whole notion of God being good all the time is derived from this idea that God is good and benevolent, and God seeks to bless us and impress every single good and positive quality that you could possibly imagine within the context of your life. So that is the ultimate plan of God. So if we're using God and the universe interchangeably, then that is the ultimate goal of the universe, is to get you into the most positive frequency possible and ensuring that all the good things happen within your life. Okay, so that is the normal understanding. So we kind of created a God that suits our moral systems. So we try to then implement the idea of God within the context of our morality. So within the context of our morality, we seek to do the ultimate good for the benefit of and the betterment of humanity, because we're trying to model this idea of God being ultimately benevolent. So this is essentially what creates morality. Morality, I would say, has a huge connection with religion, because morality is something metaphysical. It's an idea or a concept that works or is derived from a template that cannot essentially be extracted from the physical world. We cannot look to science, we cannot look to the objective world for clues in which moral systems to adopt. The moral systems that we adopt are purely metaphysical, and a large portion or a large contribution of the moral systems that we attain and accumulate are derived from religion, from our idea of God, from our idea of what we have called the Creator. But as we engage in more philosophy, as we engage in more investigation on what exactly morality is, the definition tends to become even more elusive, because our idea of morality is always relative to the circumstance or event that it arises from. For instance, a person who has the compulsion to steal. Now, if they have been raised and indoctrinated by our society, more specifically the Western society, then there will be an apprehension to steal, because it conflicts with the already held moral systems contained within the person. But then these moral systems that are contained within the person can be challenged. And the reason why they can be challenged is because in dire situations, in moments where your survival is the most necessary thing that you need to consider and attend to, then your moral systems will lose their significance over your action. Meaning, you will be able to take actions that contradict and conflict with your moral systems, because the moment calls you to survive. And in surviving, possibly you had to steal, or you have to steal in that situation. So now morality now becomes very elusive, because we cannot necessarily blame that person for stealing if in that situation they had no other option. And we can all debate and say, there always are other options. But most of us debating this have not really experienced that sensation of having your existence threatened by hunger or the existence of those you care about. So morality within that context becomes more fluid. It becomes adjustable to the moment. So what we have deemed as good behavior and bad behavior can always be contradicted and changed, because morality itself is not a rigid, stagnant idea. It all depends on the situation and the circumstance. Thus, our understanding of morality, we have now superimposed that onto God, and we now assume that the creator, the universe, God, whatever you want to call that primordial energy, somehow, some way operates through a moral system. Thus, if you act in a good way, then you will be rewarded. And if you act in a bad way, then you will be punished. And this is the conception that most people have within the spiritual journey in their understanding of karma. That karma is somehow this law that rewards you for your good actions and punishes you for your bad actions. And this is not the case. Life, nature, the universe, existence, God, whatever you want to call that primordial energy, is totally and utterly indifferent. What this means is that it places no judgment on whatever course of action that you decide to take. Look at this, for example. Most human beings have the idea that killing an adolescent or an infant is wrong. But when you look at that action within the animal kingdom, a lion has no problem hunting a baby deer, because the lion is not restricted by morality. The lion feels hungry and it will eat anything that it can. Whereas within the human context, our actions have limitations, and the limitations are derived from morality. But the universe itself, the primordial energy that governs our existence, is indifferent. And what this means within our experience is that there is no judgment on your behavior. The only judgment of your behavior comes from your society and essentially comes from you. You are the ultimate judge of what courses of actions that you need to take. And then the universe, God, existence, being in that indifference, will then reflect that life to you. So if we're to look at it in the context of your mind as well, your subconscious mind is indifferent. Your conscious mind has judgments. Your conscious mind can decide what to pay attention to, whether this is good, whether this was bad. But the subconscious mind is indifferent to your understanding of what is good and what is bad. Whatever information is fed to the subconscious mind then becomes your experience, because the subconscious mind doesn't look towards that information that you have given it and say, okay, I will give my subject this experience and remove that experience. No, whatever information is given to the subconscious mind, it will then reflect that back to you as an experience. And the subconscious mind within this context can be understood as God, the universe. So whatever thoughts and actions that you partake in, whether good or bad, the universe will reflect that back to you as an experience. So even the most atrocious individuals that have ever existed within the plane of existence that we occupy, even the most atrocious people that you can think of within the context of your life, none of them are essentially being judged by God, universe, or nature. The only judgment that exists is the judgment from their eyes and from the society's eyes. But nature itself, God itself, places no judgment on their courses of actions. However, it will reflect their actions back to them as an experience. So if their action came from a negative state, from a negative feeling, from a negative perspective, and negative in this context meaning something that does not serve the person or serve society, then that essential feeling will be reflected back to that individual, and that will be called karma. It's essentially what goes around comes back around. So it's not God placing judgment on you. It's not God punishing you for your wrong deeds. It is God only reflecting that back to you. So God, the universe, being indifferent is actually the greatest gift that there is, because not only does that assure you 100% freedom in the courses of actions that you choose to take, but it means that you will not be judged, that you are free to take any course of action. But now you need to maintain and uphold responsibility, because now you realize that because the universe is indifferent, my actions and my thoughts will be reflected back to me in an indifferent fashion, meaning I will not be favored by existence, by God, when I take a negative action and then expect that God will forgive me and not have the consequences of those actions as an experience. Because morality teaches us to forgive. But because the universe, God, is indifferent, it has nothing to forgive. It has only that to reflect. So within the context of your life, within the context of your experience, let go of the idea of being judged. The judgment solely comes from your society and you. You are imposing judgment on yourself. There is no God, no being that is above you, that is judging you. You are whole and complete as you are. And the actions that you take within the course of your life will always be reflected back to you. So the golden rule then applies here. Treat others as you would like to be treated. Because essentially what is going on is that you, based on how you behave, based on how you treat people, is a sentiment as to how you treat yourself and how you view yourself. So in this indifferent universe that you dwell in, you are the difference. You get to determine what is good for you and what is bad for you. And you get to determine what experiences you have based on how you conduct yourself within this world. And when you realize this power that you have and this gift that you've been given by existence, then responsibility emerges from that. The normal idea of living in a society that is absent of morality would descend into chaos. In fact, it would bring us back to our original stance of ultimate freedom and ultimate responsibility. And from that lens, you have the power to make the difference in an indifferent world. So thank you very much, guys, for listening to this. Please like, please share, and please subscribe to my channel. And to end it off, as I always end it off, for those who seek, seek no more. For in the present, we find it all. Thank you very much, guys.